and I have to point out, China has passed the United States according to one measure of the size of the economy. This is coming from the International Monetary Fund. In reality, China has passed the U.S. a long time ago, because if you measure tangible, physical, commodity manufacturing production and agricultural production, you will find that the U.S. is way behind China. The U.S. GDP is packed with hot air, derivatives, speculation, parasitism, service economy, God knows what. But at least according to the IMF, China has passed the U.S. in an adjusted measure of gross domestic product. Thank you, Wall Street ruling class. Now, some of us are not going to let that stand. There's still the ability of the American system to revive something much worse than what we've got right now. But no matter how bad it gets, the American system can bring it back. And some of us stand ready to implement that and to fight for it. So I urge you to join us. But we do not want the permanent austerity dictatorship. We want to preserve divided government, because the alternative is simply awful. We do not want a GOP-controlled Senate. Now, the Democrats are cutting a sorry figure. Where's your war room? Where's your counterpunch? What happened to that thing with, Carville, Begala, and Stan Greenberg? Stan Greenberg usefully pointed out a week or two ago that the thing that the media are hiding, and this is conspiratorial, I'm afraid, is the total unpopularity of the Republican Party. The Republican Party is hated. Why? Gridlock. The House of Representatives, the most hated branch of government, that's the Republican Party. People hate that. Then the government shutdowns, right? The party of national sabotage. And then cutting the NIH, cutting health, education, welfare, and so forth. And these governors are hated. We just saw the petulant cretin Scott, governor of Florida, refused to come out because the other guy had a fan. Oh, my God. Same goes for Walker. Those guys could be defeated, by the way. Scott and Walker, I hope, will go down because those are union busters and wage gougers. This is odious, right? This is 19th century laissez-faire Dickensian cruelty by these bums. So that's why we have to look at the media. Remember, the oligarchy controls the president. That's the big name of the game. The oligarchs, Wall Street, want to control the president. In the first term, it's easy. He needs money for re-election. They control him that way. In the second term, it is that the president is bashed and vilified and scandals and the jinx and all this stuff. But this is not automatic. This is a plan. And you see these prostitutes go along with it. Here's the good example. This latest debacle, fiasco of the past week in Dallas, Texas. Oh, boy, Dallas. And this, of course, is a place heavy with the tragic memories of 50 years ago. Just, an ineffable sadness comes over us. But now, here comes this guy from Liberia who's got Ebola, and they managed to get 2 nurses infected. They're flying around. There's another one on a cruise ship now. There are schools shut down in Ohio and elsewhere because of the incompetence of Texas. And I'm amazed that the Democrats don't pick it up, right? Every loudmouth, posturing, boot-wearing, 10-gallon hat yahoo, don't mess with Texas. Well, this is the libertarian paradise. It's, of course, the state that is, they always point to, right? This is where laissez-faire and the Austrian school really work. Wage gouging, union busting, no unions, no rights, no nothing. That's wonderful. It's also the state that has the most atrocious public health system, and starts from the fact that it has the highest percentage of people who have no health insurance of any kind, and because of the sabotage of this Perry, nothing has gotten better. We'll get to this in just a minute. But you'd think that the Democrats would get together and say, let's blame Dallas on Rick Perry, not Obama. And I'll get to this again. The Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, CDC, are not, repeat, not a regulatory agency. Hospitals are regulated by states. This state of Texas regulates that hospital. Perry and his gang are responsible. The GOP spreads plagues with Rick Perry. Washington, 17th of October. There are more rumblings from the Mitt Romney camp. Mitt Romney may be attempting a power grab, that the Mormon theocracy joins together with the permanent austerity dictatorship. Don't let it happen. Get that book, Just Too Weird. Bishop Romney and the Mormon takeover of America with polygamy, theocracy, and subversion. Read the part about the Paul-Tard machine as a wing, as a training wheel for Bishop Romney and his campaign. So Texas is responsible for Dallas, and that means Governor Rick Perry, Senator Ted Cruz, the sallow face of hypocrisy, Senator Cornyn. Let's not forget the Paul clan, right? Ron Paul over there, and God knows who else, right? Over there in Texas. They're responsible for that hospital. What is wrong with you guys? What's wrong with quarantine? What part of quarantine don't you understand? Once you've got those people together, you can't just send them home. You've got to keep them under supervision in a place that they're not allowed to leave. Yes, indeed. That's what quarantine is. It was introduced in the 1340s in Ragusa. It became famous in Venice. You came into Venice on a ship from a plague area. You went onto a special island. There was a big building with many, many small cells. You could stay in there. You didn't have to mix with the others. And you stayed there for 40 days. That's the quarantine. And with that, you could have stopped it. But the bungling, stupid, incompetent Texas authorities, now I sympathize with them as individuals, but the killer cuts trumpeted by this Perry and his refusal of the Medicaid money and all the rest of it, this comes home to roost. Where the hell is the Democratic Party? Wake up, you lily-livered, chicken-hearted, bloodless, gutless, fake opposition Democrats, you Wall Street Democrats, right? You are pathetic. Where's your coordinated counterattack on Rick Perry? Hang it on him. Otherwise, they're hanging on Obama. You could see it in the House hearings the other day. They're leaderless. They're running around like, each one is trying to save their own career. Where's the leadership? If you want leadership, turn here. We'll give it to you. We'll tell you what to do. Now, let's just look into this, right? We're going to get Obama's going to bring in Ron Klain, a venture capitalist and lawyer. Just what we need. From Gore and Biden, he's their chief of staff. Maybe he was also the cocaine monitor or purveyor for young Hunter Biden, the nepotist who was also involved in dirty operations in Ukraine. There's a tremendous conflict of interest. So this is really bad. What we would need is a competent Surgeon General. Surgeon General is blocked by the fascisto Republicans. How come we haven't heard that? Where's the Democratic Party? Is there anybody at the Democratic National Committee? What's with that Wasserman Schultz? Is she still alive? So hospitals are regulated by states. At the beginning of this crisis, Rick Perry was AWOL. He went AWOL during the week. He went to Europe. Can you believe this? The state of Texas is inflicting plague on the rest of us with their incompetence in that cursed city of Dallas. And then we hear that Perry is cavorting around in Europe. He's AWOL. Did you hear that on the media? No. Did you hear it from the Democratic noise machine? Is there still one? I don't know. Concerning the question of the travel ban, right? The Republicans come down to this. First of all, there are no direct commercial flights between the United States and the three countries of Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea. There are none. There are indirect flights. People can go through London, through Amsterdam, through Brussels. Now, of course, if they do that, they've got to go through the screening operations of those countries. So that gives you a little bit of an extra layer of protection, and it means that the trip is a little bit longer in a time when, 12, 24 hours might make a big difference. If you go back and look at my United Front radio interview of October 6th, I point out that the U.S. Health system is of quite high quality, but very brittle. There is no depth, and now we're seeing it, right? The NIH has 2 beds of total isolation. In Nebraska, we have 10, but you can't sterilize all of the trash coming out. Here, what we ought to do, an emergency executive order allowing these hospitals and others to incinerate their bio-waste on the site. Burn it up. That takes care of it. Don't ship it around, and don't have to go through this boiling procedure. I think in Missouri there's 1 bed. Amory University, I think 4 beds. So you can see what it is, right? The U.S. has relatively few beds. This is from the MSNBC, the Mad Cow report of the other night. But these are relevant statistics, right? All these people go around saying, we have the best system. You don't have the best system. France, with a population of, 1/5 of the U.S., now has 12 centers that are accredited. Now, what that means qualitatively, I can't say at this point, but it looks more encouraging than the poor 4 centers. I'm absolutely in favor of sending military forces to these countries for humanitarian work. If you allow that epidemic to become a pandemic in Africa, it will spread worldwide. This is not good. Do fight it over there. Absolutely fight it over there. However, this does not mean that you have to promote intercontinental travel at this point. I think it's reasonable, if only as a matter of maintaining public order and confidence in government, to say the State Department will no longer issue a visa to anybody who is a citizen of those 3 countries, nor will we issue a visa to anybody who's got a passport where those countries show up, right? The 3 at the epicenter of this entire thing. Since there are no direct flights, this does not arise. I would recommend that transporting goods to the impacted areas be done with, as I think it is being done, sea lift and airlift from the Pentagon. Military Airlift Command and Pentagon charter flights can do the job. But let's get away from commercial aviation. And then there have to be quarantine facilities. That means you got to find a couple of the Motel 6s that are apparently between owners, and you can start stockpiling people there. If they're okay after 21 days, off they go. So I think that would give you something in that direction. And then I'm wondering what happened to all the hospital ships that used to exist in the world. There used to be private organizations, Medico and others, that had hospital ships. What's with Médecins Sans Frontières? Got any hospital ships? And remember, the underlying consideration, the Hill-Burton Act says you need 4.5 beds per 1,000 as of 1946, and we now have 3 beds per 1,000. We have 5,000 hospitals left. We've lost over 1,000. We've got to start rebuilding those. The idea is that you can't have the Tea Party running this kind of policy. We don't have a vaccine, thanks to the Tea Party, thanks to you, Ted Cruz, thanks to your shutdown. How are you letting him off the hook? Democrats, journalists, what's the matter with you? Of course, the word has gone out from Wall Street. It's time to control Obama with the bashing program. Rick Perry's austerity regime in Texas is responsible for the chaos. And notice Nigeria, they point to Nigeria as a country that has defended itself reasonably well. What they practice is the most ruthless quarantine. And one wag today said, send the Nigerians to run Texas Presbyterian Hospital. Good idea. It'll be an improvement